Wait a moment. This isn't a furry visual novel.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drakewing Gaming, and something me on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Tennis Ace, Casey's Path. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we, and see what ails these troubled lovers. Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. Alrighty. Can these two reconcile their differences and come together? They'll definitely be coming together. But I have neither of those things. I worked as hard as I can because it's my only choice. If I can't become big in a very public, very respected field, my odds of escaping the future of my family set up for me are zero. So I clung to tennis all these years. I picked it on a whim, without thinking much of it, simply deciding that would be my ticket out. But I am neither passionate nor talented. Compared to most, I have had the best possible foundation. Easy access to coaches, trainers, equipment, courts, you name it. And yet, despite the most absolutely ideal environment, I am merely average. Someone like me isn't on the level of someone like you. I'm not the kind of person who can turn these dreams into reality. The odds were very small to begin with. The number of professional tennis players that actually earn enough to be independent is shockingly low, after all. Well, yeah, but... Come on, Yuuichi. Don't look at me like that. How else am I supposed to look at you? Look at all that you just said to me. So, what are you gonna do now? Nothing at all. Huh? And don't get me wrong, I might not be the kind of talented idiot who manages to push themselves past their limits and turns their dreams into reality through sheer effort, but I am the kind of serious idiot who keeps going even when they have zero chance at becoming anything more than they already are. Besides, how many Japanese kids join a school sports club actually expecting to become professional athletes? While I'm sure there is a fair amount, they would still certainly be in the minority. So you'll keep playing? Yes, I have no reason to stop. It's not like I dislike tennis. I find it enjoyable. I am merely aware I don't have what it takes to turn it into more than a hobby. I don't like it. It's not like you've considered it all carefully and came up with a decision that is best for you, but I still don't like it. Especially the part about thinking your relationships have an expiration date. It's not like you need to be aiming to be a professional to be with us. Friendships aren't about requirements like that. Sorry, I can tell from your face that I've dumped a lot on you. I'm not sure what to say, that's all. I don't blame you. Do you really think we have an expiration date? That's a difficult question to answer. It shouldn't be. The answer should be no. Obviously, I know what I want and what I hope for, but I'm also aware reality is rarely that kind. Of course, I'll be more than happy to be proven wrong, but I won't smile, lie, and say that the odds aren't against us. I know you're the type of person to be logical and reasonable, but I really hate your reason right now. You shouldn't think like that. It's painful to hear you talk that way. I don't know what to tell you. I've never been the kind of man to blindly hope for the best, nor am I the type of person to try my hand at something when I think there's no chance of success. Maybe it's my upbringing talking, but I'm not capable of taking risks like that. Everything I do after careful consideration of the chances of success, the possible consequences, among other factors. There you go. Yeah, I know. We've talked about this before. Your way of thinking stinks. Offense intended. My head hurts. Sorry, we should probably put a stop to this conversation. But we can talk more about it later. I'm not saying we shouldn't discuss it. If you think there's more to be said, then we'll do so. But I doubt this is something we can get to the bottom of in less than an hour. Right? Probably. And you have your competition to worry about. We've been here for a while. I should probably get you back before Mizuguchi-san tries to take my head for making you late. Do you promise we'll talk about this again? I do, Yuuichi. Relax. Oh, gives him a kiss. Keisuke turns to look at me, getting on his knees and leaning forward, rapidly closing the distance between us and planting a kiss on my lips. The sudden gesture silences me, causing my panicked thoughts to freeze all at once. Instead, I focus on the feeling of his soft lips on mine, of his hand cupping and brushing my cheek, of the sweet aroma of soap and perfume on his fur. Oh God, that beautiful gaze. There, does that help? Somewhat. Good. Keisuke gets back up on his feet. Only then do I realize he'd been sitting on a handkerchief this entire time. The hare picks it up, shaking any debris or dirt from it before folding it up and sticking it back into his pocket. Does he always carry one of those? I so like him. Oh my God. Come on, up. Keisuke offers me a hand and I grasp it at a second thought. Your carriage awaits, my prince. It would not do for me to make you late on your big day. My prince? I was quoting a fairy tale, to the best of my memory at least. Okay, and what would my carriage even be? Isn't it obvious? I'm calling a car. You mean a taxi? No, I mean a car. But we've talked about this, remember? Alex may not have come with, but there was no way my family wouldn't send other people to keep an eye on me at all times. They've probably been following me wherever I went. It's the only reason I'd be allowed to walk around Tokyo. That's a little terrifying. And uncomfortable. We've kissed in public a few times already, remember? What if they saw that? I suppose I'm so used to it by now that I think nothing of it. Hang on, let me just make the call. Yeah, I'm not surprised that you want so badly to get away. This is also incredibly creepy. Ugh, now I can't shake the feeling that I'm being watched. Sometime later, after having been brought back to the arena, Casey and I entered a very intense lecture from Sai and Yuuichi, both separately and together. I could barely get a word in edgeways. Thankfully, even those two were bound to run out of steam at some point. It just sucked that it took over 10 minutes before they did. As the time was nearing for my match to start, however, I eventually parted with my friends and walked into my court, repeating the same ritual that I began establishing during my match with Keisuke. From here, Tanabe and I both walk up to the net after a few minutes of warm-up, looking to the umpire to perform the coin toss, with each of us calling aside and waiting for it to determine the first serve. Tails, player Tanabe. Will you serve first or second? I believe I shall go first, then. He gives me serious Ignis vibes from Final Fantasy XV. Nodding, the umpire climbs his chair, getting in position so we can start the match. I begin on my way to our starting positions, but I'm quickly called out by Tanabe before I have the chance to. Good luck, Yuuichi-san. I'm looking forward to our match, and, Oh. Tanabe's still feeling awkward after that conversation from earlier today. So much has happened that I completely forgot about it. Yeah, same to you. Once everything is settled, we can finally actually make our way to our marks. Although I'm usually all for the pre-match pleasantries, I'm trying my best to concentrate and remember that feeling I had during my match with Keisuke. Already I can feel my senses sharpening like they had back then. I close my eyes, taking a few deep breaths and getting rid of all unnecessary thoughts. There's no point focusing on anything else right now. Anything that happens after the match comes after. Right now, there's only one thing that matters. I absolutely refuse to give Tanabe the satisfaction of taking me for a ride yet again. My pride couldn't bear it if I got humiliated again. This is my final year. I will make things different. Competitor Michimaya, this is your 30-second call. Are you ready to begin? The umpire's call serves as the alarm that I have no more time to center myself. However, once I open my eyes, I feel much lighter. I lock eyes with Tanabe, immediately tightening my grip on my racket and getting into a serve-receive position. Tanabe tosses the ball up high, hitting it hardly toward my side with a sharp angle shot that aims precisely for the service line. I quickly dash after and hit the ball back as hard as I can to the empty side of his court. Right away, we are locked in a fast-paced rally from the very start of the match. Thankfully, Tanabe's playstyle is essentially a more refined version of what Keisuke does. While his overall parameters are almost all higher, the general rhythm and strategies are quite similar. As such, not only the dozens of practice matches I've had with Keisuke over the last couple months, but also the one I had with him just this morning served as the perfect training for me. I'm able to react and respond quickly and effectively to Tanabe thanks to both that experience and my own heightened senses. I begin feeling a confidence that I hadn't felt in a long time when facing off against the Red Panda. Tanabe had haunted my thoughts for so long that I hadn't realized that fear and anxiety was actually keeping me from performing my best. If I struggled to pull out my A-game against the other players due to general struggles during my rut, that feeling was magnified even further with him specifically. But now I feel so light. 15-0. After a grueling rally that went way past 10 shots, I managed to send over a cross-court topspin shot that aims deep for the open side of Tanabe's court. The Red Panda had been running around the court frantically in an attempt to keep up while using his shot variety to try and destabilize me and gain back his advantage. Fortunately, the one thing that Keisuke does have him beat at is his speed and footwork. Since I'm using the kinds of shots I got used to using against Keisuke earlier, Tanabe, who struggles a lot more to reach them, is at an even further disadvantage. If he can't get to the ball fast enough to properly prepare a swing and make good contact, it's harder for him to hit the ball as precisely or strongly as he would like. Once I realize that, I can't help but crack a smile while I wipe my face with my shirt sleeve. It'll work. The training I did with Casey and the countermeasures I came up with this morning will absolutely work against Tanabe. Of course, I shouldn't allow myself to get cocky, but right now, I'm at a way better place than I have been in years. Right now, I'm feeling so great. Seeing Tanabe frown and start to stare and fiddle with his racket strings makes me have to restrain a smirk. It's been years since I've seen him get frustrated during a match, let alone so early into it. 30-0. With play restarting, the red panda sends out a shallow slice serve that seeks to skip away from me instead. Too predictable. Our rally isn't quite as long this time, with me being able to clinch the point when he attempted to force a shot through the edge of the court and accidentally struck the ball out instead. Great, if I can keep putting this kind of pressure on him, his number of errors will increase. Even if I have the advantage now, I can't allow our rally to continue like the first one did. There's no way my body can hold up for an entire match like that. I was already fatigued before we even started. But still, even if I am doing a lot better than expected, it would be impossible for me to completely shut down someone like Tanabe. He's no Casy, even though his footwork isn't as good, he more than makes up for it otherwise. The Red Panda manages to win back 2 points in a row, leaving us tied at 30-all. Still, if I can manage to steal away the very first serve of the match from him, that would be huge. After going back and forth on a deuce four times, I finally managed to push my way through and smash the ball down into his court when a very brief misstep on his part causes him to miss his contact point with the ball and resulted in him hitting the ball slow and high into my court. Game Michimaya, 1-0. Alright, that gives me a little bit more room to work with. I take a few deep breaths, already noticing how the air seems to get stuck in my throat. Is this seriously the very first game of the match? I better hope that I manage to push my advantage further, otherwise this might get bad. Sometime later. Despite my best attempts, however, the pace of the match isn't slow at all. Even while I'm trying my best to keep Tanabe down, our very next rally is back to being suffocatingly long. As I run around after the ball, hit after hit, the desperate gasp for breath feel as if I'm slowly being choked out. Every breath I take makes my throat and lungs burn. Game in first set won by Michimaya, 6-4. I finally managed to drive the ball past him and win the point, but Tanabe fought me every step of the way. Although I'm able to stay generally ahead of him for the first time in years, each and every point feels like it's my own battle, my own final battle. Alright, y'all, I'm actually going to pause it right there. I'm tired, y'all. I'm going to head out. Anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!